I want to tell you about something that happened about 1,000 years ago in Sichuan province, China. At the center of this story was an extraordinary scholar. He was a master of the Diamond Cutter Sutra. He could recite the sutra without hesitation or flaw. It ran through his mind ceaselessly. He could quote the relevant passages of the commentaries, paragraphs at a time. He knew from a phrase where the debate might lead, how the arguments were framed, and how they could be contested. For him, this book changed everything. It was as mysterious as the sky, endlessly open. A vast ocean he traveled, navigating star to star. He would discover new worlds. He would discover a new one right here. As the story begins, he was walking. He'd been walking for days. It was hot. He had a long way to travel to the capital. On his back, he carried a little library. Every evening when he stopped to rest, he studied. He was on his way to the great debate. The emperor would preside. The emperor would choose the victor. Great scholars from everywhere would contend. This year he would challenge them. He could see it. He was ready. He would enter the circle of great scholars. He would be consulted by the powerful, valued by the wise. But at the moment his mouth was dry, his collar was wet, his back was sore. He saw a little tea shop tucked in a bend in the road. He entered the courtyard. He set his books down near a small square table. An elderly woman came out from the shop. She greeted him with a bow and a cool drink. He was covered in dust, but he wore the clothes of a scholar. He took the cup of water with 2 hands, drank it all. Feeling the cool water soothe his throat, he thanked her. Breathing deeply, his exhaustion lifting, he asked her for a cup of tea. "I need to refresh my mind," he told her. She smiled and nodded and turned to get his tea. Then she stopped and turned back toward him. "Sir, are you a scholar?" "Yes, I am," he said. "What do you study?" "The Diamond Cutter, the Vajracchedika Prajnaparamita Sutra," he said. "I see," said the old woman. "Before I get your tea, I'd like to ask you a question." "Of course, grandmother." "The Diamond Sutra says that the mind of the past is gone and ungraspable. Is that right?" "Yes, that's right," said the scholar. "And the mind of the future does not yet exist, so it too is ungraspable." "Yes, that's right." "And according to the sutra, the present mind can't be grasped either. Is that right?" "Yes, you really know the sutra well," he said. He smiled kindly at the simple, pious old woman. She was motionless. She held him with her gaze as she asked, "Then, sir, which mind is it that you would like to refresh?" With this he was stunned. A chill took hold of him. He couldn't answer. In his shock, the world stood still and began to open as he searched for an answer. Then the dawn broke. The world became clear. A freedom that resembled nothing he'd experienced before opened his heart and opened the prison of his mind. The world became brilliant. The plain, serene face of the tea lady vanished as she went to get his tea. He drank it. They say that next he abandoned his books, gave up his life of scholarship, and turned from the path of study to the path of training. In modern times, people misunderstood this story. Some thought the story showed that study was useless. They missed the point. At the pivotal moment, the monk saw directly the truth that his scholarly study was pointing to all along. He suddenly saw that by attending rigidly to the words, to the description of reality, he missed the experience of the reality to which those words pointed. His training worked. His mind was well prepared. His teacher, the tea lady, skillfully catalyzed his insight and transformation. The story does not reject knowledge and study. It views them as a necessary step to master and to leave behind. That is consistent with the Buddhist teaching that practice and study are to be used as a raft to cross the river of craving and ignorance, to be left behind upon reaching the other shore. The path of the Zen master in East Asian lore, as expressed in this story, maps to the path of the master of Japanese Zen Budo. The martial arts parallel to scholarship is found in the study of Kata. If we treat the Kata as objects with magic powers, which can confer mastery just by memorizing them, then they will fail in their purpose. If we recognize the Kata as instrumental, learn them, investigate them, practice them wholeheartedly, then, when they've done their job, when we've used them to shape and transform our body and mind, we can be done with them, but we cannot do without them.